Hey Gemini, this is Isel. I am here to go ahead and do the final portion of November's reading. I got yours out, I believe, last week. Sorry, it was late at that point, but I've had a lot going on in my life, and yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and let you know that I'm getting this one out on time. So here it comes. Yeah, show me overall energies present for the sign of Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Hierophant, Gemini. Okay. So this is establishments. This is hospitals, long-standing relationships, marriages. This is communication with counselors. This is seeking counseling. What else? Yeah, seeking spiritual advice, going to a tarot reader, going to somebody who is spiritually inclined. This is talking to your priest, talking to, it could also be in deep prayer, you know. Show me more for the sign of Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Love and relationship reading for the sign of Sun, Moon, for the sign of Gemini, November, last portion of November, please. Okay, so Queen of Swords here, Gemini. This is your energy. The Queen of Swords here, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. The Queen of Swords is somebody who is essentially, she's a queen who has been run through the ringer by partners in relationships. She's experienced heavy levels of pain. She's experienced deception. She's experienced lying, cheating. She's basically experienced it all that has been very, very harsh and detrimental in regard to her situations. She's also somebody who has basically gone through all of that and learned to, she's learned to deal with things in a very forthright manner. She's somebody who no longer, she cuts through the BS. Do you see that sword? She cuts through BS. She's not really willing to listen to somebody lie to her. She just wants the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. She's not going to sugarcoat anything. She's not really willing to take BS. She wants facts, and she'll get facts. And she can be very difficult to deal with at times. She can be very cold and cutting. She's very exacting in her words. And with good right. She's dealt through a lot of pain. There's no reason. I've had to be that card many times, you know? Show me more. So in regard to this, like, if it is a relationship, if it is a marriage, we have that on the back of our mind. That's almost like what's on the back of her mind. It's fortifying her reasoning in regard to having her sword outstretched, you know? Show me more for the sign of Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus here. Show me more for the sign of Gemini, love and relationship reading November 20th, 2018. Show me more for Gemini, please. So we've got the Devil and we've got the Page of Cups, okay? So basically, the Devil talks about toxicity. It talks about third-party relationships. It talks about relationships that are codependent. It talks about codependency in regard to alcoholism, drug abuse. It talks about people who are secret lovers. You know, there's a lot of different things. It can also just talk about how we, where we go within ourselves when we are hurt. Another thing about the Queen of Swords is this can be a very hurt energy, okay? Oftentimes she's wanting to seek the truth, but some of the reasoning behind why she's so vehemently, like, you know, ready to cut somebody's head off is because of the pain she's endured. So, you know, this may also be needing, like, if we're looking at how I'm looking at it on the table, she's looking directly at this Devil card, okay? Now, this could be in regard to looking at a situation where we have a codependent relationship. She could also be looking at herself in regard to how she's experiencing her pain, what she's doing to mask it. So taking a deep, hard look in regard to codependency. Then we have the Page of Cups here. So Pages often talk about children. They talk about, this one talks about somebody who wants to apologize. It talks about somebody who wants to communicate emotionally. You know, yeah, let's keep going on. Show me more. I feel like this needs to be separated right there. Show me more for the Page of Cups. Or just show me more for the sign of Gemini. Show me more for Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Love and relationship reading for November 2018. Show me more here. So the Five of Cups, Gemini. So basically an energy of sorrow, regret, frustration, somebody apologizing in regard to relationships that may have gone awry, somebody basically who's stuck in emotional frustration and anguish. You know, this also can be being compassionate in regard to oneself when we are feeling low, in regard to relationships, in regard to things that have fallen away by the wayside, you know. That is a level, compassion is also a level of healing destructive behavior. If we're dealing with self-destructive behavior, compassion, exercising compassion in regard to ourselves is very, very important, okay? And that may be in regard to seeking counseling, seeking drug and alcohol substance abuse counseling. There's a lot of different things here in regard to that. Show me more. Okay. So we have the Knight of Swords in reverse and Justice in reverse. I feel like I want to read them both ways. So the Knight of Swords in reverse is somebody who's basically, their communication is entirely off. They're somebody who is just vomiting out hatred, frustration. They are not, they're not really making any headway in regard to communication. It's just like spinning their wheels, but also not getting anywhere because they'd rather fight than actually get to the meat of the matter. Upright, this card is somebody who is very blunt in their communication, but also somebody who is willing to take the time to get to the bottom of everything so that clarity can be brought to a situation, okay? It fell out in reverse, but I feel like I need to read them both ways. Justice in reverse. So this is basically being treated poorly. This is being lied to, somebody pulling the wool over your eyes and treating you like crap. This is things not going as according to plan. You know, a dissolve of relationships, a dissolve of plans within relationships, communication in relationships where things just are not what they were supposed to be. So communication that goes sour, you know, agreements that go off, stuff of that nature. Upright, we have somebody coming in to communicate truth, somebody who wants to clear things up, apologize, somebody who is either getting the law involved, you know. In reverse, though, this is speaking of the law not being in your favor. Show me more. Show me more for Gemini, please. So we have the World in reverse, Gemini, with the moon on the bottom of the deck. So the World in reverse is basically, you know, it's like, it's essentially unfinished business, but it's also a level of not learning lessons in situations. You know, if we're in a situation with somebody, there may just be fighting in regard to the situation going on. It may be trying to rehash things that either were said but were not adhered to. You may be dealing with that, you know. Either way, though, it's basically coming back to communicate things. It's almost as if there's, like, you know, stuff that's still needing to be talked about in regard to this. The moon, it can talk about lying, it can talk about deception, it can talk about deceit. There's also a card of not being, basically not having sure footing in regard to the direction you want to go in when emotional stuff is afoot. You know, emotionally, it's like we're out of balance in regard to the path that we want to walk down. You know, it's like we don't know exactly which way to go, you know, because there's so many emotions that are clouding us. You know, it's like there's no clarity here with emotions and in regard to moving forward in certain situations, you know. Again, I keep coming back to this guidance, card of guidance, card of prayer. Speak to somebody who I don't want to say is in authority. That's not what I want to say. I mean, yes, they are an authority of, you know, whatever aspect that they practice, but it's not about that they're more powerful than you. It's about the wisdom that they have, or at least the knowledge that they have, and accreditation that they have to help you through something, to help you see, you know, how to heal this situation or heal yourself, or, you know, deal with, you know, negative aspects of the self that this situation is bringing up, you know, how to have a clear communication where it's like we can communicate openly and warmly with somebody, or at least express our emotions versus rather wallowing in sadness and frustration. That's something here. So let's go ahead and pull cards as clarifiers for this reading. Okay, I need to drink something. That's good tea. All right, so let's go ahead and clarify the Hierophant for the sign of Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Love and relationship reading for the sign of Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Show me the Hierophant. Show me the Hierophant. Show me the Hierophant now, please. So we have the Tower in reverse. So this is in regard to foundations, okay? The Tower is a situation where we need to let foundations crumble so we can move on. Here, we are having a hard time letting go. We're having this issue where we keep coming back to a situation. If this is a relationship, because remember, this card also talks about relationships and commitments, solid commitments, marriages. Okay, that's what this card also talks about. There's many layers of the Hierophant. It's talking about having a difficult time letting go of something. Okay, now in regard to this, I want you to look at this cards, the way that they're placed again. We have the Queen of Swords here with the Hierophant. So if this relationship is from her past, we're having a hard time moving away from it. We keep coming back to this situation. Essentially, what we need to do is let it crumble. In regard to that, what I just spoke of, coming back to it, having a difficult time letting it go, that is most definitely devil energy. The devil energy talks about codependent situations. It talks about toxicity within relationships, toxic relationship partners, you know. So we need to be careful of how we engage in situations. For our own mental health, you know, show me the Queen of Swords here for the sign of Gemini. You got two cards, Gemini. So you have the King of Wands, and you've got the Eight of Cups. So this is kings. Kings are male. This is a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. This is somebody who is essentially like, the way that these two cards are, Gemini, look at them. They're in completely different opposite directions, okay? She's that way, he's facing that way. It's like he's facing the situation of, he's looking at the situation of the Tower in reverse and the Hierophant. Like, she's got it in her past. He's looking directly at it. So it's like he's paying attention to it, but he's also walked away from the situation. So it's almost like as if she's causing the situation to be looked upon deeper and he's wanting to walk away from it. Sometimes that happens where one partner wants to resolve things, you know, or at least bury the hatchet. Sometimes things need to be cleared up, and it's like, you know what, he's being dragged in, or not necessarily dragged in. He could also be of his own volition looking at the situation after having had walked away, or he could be looking at the situation and choosing to walk away. Show me the Devil here for the sign of Gemini. So we have the Three of Pentacles and we have the Wheel of Fortune here, Gemini. It's in reverse. They're both in reverse. Okay. So this is not choosing to work with somebody. It's a breach of contract. It's going against things where we've once communicated things. It's not working with people towards a goal effort, you know, where we once were working with somebody. It's like choosing to no longer do that. Okay. In regard to the devil, though, if we're choosing to no longer work with somebody, you need to be making sure that you're not bringing a heavy level of toxicity in here. You need to make sure that you're not just, you know, ball busting and being cruel. Okay. There's a level of that energy here. The Wheel of Fortune in reverse is good. I like seeing it in reverse more so than I do upright. Upright, it talks about, sure, good fortune, but it also talks about cycles. It talks about lessons. Here, lessons have been learned. Cycles are not being perpetuated any further. You know, toxic levels, toxic cycles, they're not being perpetuated, which is really, really healthy. You know, if that is the outcome of choosing to not engage with somebody or not work on a agreed upon situation any longer, so be it. When we do that, we release that energy. Ooh, sorry, I'm on my hydraulic table. It scared the shit out of me. Basically, we give ourselves the option for a new beginning. Okay? Show me the Page of Cups for the sign of Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Show me the Page of Cups for Gemini, please. So you have the Hermit here, Gemini. So this is a card of Virgo. But, you know, again, I want to talk about compassion, okay? How can we look upon a situation compassionately? How can we give to something and take care of it in a manner where, you know, we can almost, it's like how do you get out of, sometimes we get in our own way to the point where we can't see anything but rage, where we can't, you know, it's like we're snorting and puffing at the nostrils here. Sometimes when we're as frustrated as we can be, it's like very difficult to see anything in a level of compassion. How do we do that though? That's a big thing to learn, okay? That's a big lesson to learn. This is talking about going within. It's talking about being very conscious in what we do in regard to how we carry on. It's talking about what, again, we have another card of seeking. This is spiritual counsel here, okay? This is going within and seeking our own spiritual counsel. This is going outwardly and seeking spiritual counsel. Show me the Five of Cups for Gemini, please. Show me the Five of Cups for Gemini. So the Emperor. So this is a card of father energy. It's a card of husband energy. This is a CEO, a banker. It's a Scorpio card. I know it's Aries as well, but it is. There's a lot of interesting energy in here connected to Scorpio as well. It could be Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. It doesn't have to be, but there is energy there. This is somebody who is a husband. It's somebody who basically takes care of everything in regard to making sure things are proper, in making sure things are solidified, taking care of their family. They do so in a way where it's like they put their family above themselves and they make sure that everything is you know, done correctly. This may be being in regret of either losing this partner. This may also be in regret to, again, communications that were no longer upheld. There's a lot of meaning for that. Show me the Knight of Swords here. Show me the Knight of Swords in reverse. So, okay. So now you have the Knight of Swords upright here. And you have the Empress here with the Devil at the bottom of the deck. Okay, so here we go. This is what I wanted to find out. So now we have here, look. Emperor, Empress, mother and father energy. We have heavy communication between them. We have blunt communication. But this kind of communication, as even though it's difficult to have, it's a communication that is, it's to get to the true essence of the matter. It's not to perpetuate fighting. It's not to perpetuate he said, she said BS. It's literally about let's communicate and get to the bottom of this matter. You know, if we have a family together, we must get to the bottom of this matter. There is no more stagnation here in regard to emotions. If a child is at heart, the Page of Cups here is in the center of the reading. If this is a custody battle, if this is a situation regarding a child, this is a water sign. Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, this is also a card of artistic energy. Somebody who is, you know, it's an artistic card. Yeah. This is getting to the meat of the matter. Bare bones, truth, honesty, you know, no more lying, frustrating, anger, communicating and under anger and frustration, pissed off energy. We have to bring truth to this situation, okay? And we're talking about that, and the devil is present in the back. You've got the devil here, okay, twice now. This is talking about painful energy. It's talking about codependency. Again, it's talking about fighting, introducing toxicity into situations. Don't do that. If you're going to be communicating with somebody, there must be truth in the communication. Even if it's hard to talk about, there must be truth here, okay? Show me justice in reverse for the sign of Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Please show me justice. Why is justice in reverse, please? Justice in reverse. So you have the Three of Swords with the Lovers. So if this situation is in regard to third-party situations, if the situation is in regard to one partner feeling heartbroken, if somebody else has moved away after the dissolve of a relationship has happened and they've decided to choose somebody else, it's almost as if we're looking at everything here. We've got the Seven of Pentacles here. It's almost as if we're looking at everything in a regretful energy, like looking at everything that we've put into this situation and feeling regret, feeling sorrow, feeling looked over, you know, stepped on, walked over. You know, it's interesting how that feels right now. I'm trying to pinpoint how it feels, but it feels like being neglected. That's what it feels like. It feels like being neglected. Yeah, so justice. So, you know, communication about things that were supposed to be a certain way and they ended up not being that way, and somebody chose somebody else or is choosing somebody else. Either way, this king, the male counterpart here, is walking away. Again, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, Aries. So if you're dealing with an Aries, they may be walking away. Show me the world in reverse for the sign of Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. Show me the world. Okay, Gemini. So you've got the Three of Wands here. And again, with the Seven of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. So basically evaluating everything that you've been in regard to the situation up to this point and choosing to go on a different path entirely. You know, this is a path that is actually one that's for you. It's something that you feel most so drawn toward, you know. Do what you can to stabilize what it is that you need to go towards what you want, what you will things into existence, will things through truth, through honesty, through good communication. When you do that, you release things and you allow what is supposed to be coming for you to come to you. Okay. Is there anything else for the sign of Gemini? Show me more for the sign of Gemini, please. Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Show me more. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so judgment here. It's in reverse. We need to turn this upright. We're not using our judgment in this situation. The situation is calling for us to be forthright, clear, and conscious in regard to how we communicate what it is that we truly want. Here, we are not using our better judgment. If we need to have conversations and communication with somebody, it must be done in honesty, not this Five of Swords energy. The Five of Swords is at the bottom of the deck. The Five of Swords is talking about manipulation, communication, where we are more so, we care about more so hurting somebody and, you know, doing things our way just to get our own outcome. It's like serving yourself in regard to, it's like manipulating communication to get your own outcome. What does it do? It gets you your outcome, but it's not a true outcome. Like you had to communicate poorly within the situation to get that. Don't do that. That is a misuse of your better judgment. Please use your judgment. Do not speak to somebody or get involved in situations that are going to basically cause hurt, upset, frustration, just out of revenge or out of pain. Don't manipulate situations for your benefit, because it doesn't end up in your benefit. It ends up working against you, and not just in the matter, but on a collective spiritual level. Don't do that. You go against what is for you when you manipulate things. Don't do that. Okay. All right, Gemini, I'm going to shut it down here. My name is Isel. I'm on YouTube as the Altruistic Mystic. If this was helpful for you at all, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. I will be back in December for the December reading. All right, take care. Bye-bye.